Okay, thanks for tuning in, everybody, for a Saturday night edition of our NASCAR coverage here on Proline TV. I'm your host, Greg DePalma. It's a San Diego street race, so we're pretty excited about that. But anyway, it's something new. And considering it's a road course, street race, then yeah, I'm all for the newness of street racing, especially out in California. We know in San Diego, there won't be any rain delays or anything like that. What a very strange day, though. Very strange. The whole setup, it's a long lap, but still, I don't know. It's funny because there weren't a lot of incidents. And that was the funny part. And then we had the weird stuff happening in qualifying where, the first group didn't even 95% of the drivers did not go out until there were 4 minutes left in qualifying. And then I think at least group two waited till about 8.5 minutes till they all went out. What are we doing this for? Seriously. It's the stupidest thing. NASCAR, you would think, I thought the whole idea in the off season, when they got together with the drivers and the teams, I thought the whole idea was to have better communication. So shouldn't this have been one of those parts where you can communicate? Now, I know this is not on network TV. It's not a big ratings grabber. But still, Prime's paying for it. And they'd like to get some bang for their buck on a Saturday. Even Friday practice was better because of it. But it was just weird. It just doesn't make any sense. Talk to me. If you're going to go ahead and you're just going to wind up waiting until there's 5 minutes left or 8 minutes left, then let's just do a 10-minute qualifying period for both groups. So it was just kind of silly. And again, it was just really weird. The only thing that wasn't weird was this man right behind my shoulder is just the dominant driver once again, even though he wasn't dominant on Friday. I expect he probably would have figured out a way to end up at the top if he didn't have the miscommunication with his team and they had come in and put some fresh tires on and went back out. Probably would have ended up with a much better speed run and maybe been first in both sessions, but I guess a little drama, right? The odds are just crazy. They're absolutely crazy. Before we get into the odds, let's go ahead and pop up, first of all, what happened in practice. And this was on Friday, of course. All right, so this is what we're talking about. SVG finished 8th in practice. Let's see, where are we? Okay, I'm just checking something out. All right, so Kyle Larson had a good day, and you figured, well, Kyle's doing pretty good lately, and we know he is an excellent road course rider. He's got, 6 wins, something like that. Ty Gibbs gets off to a good start. Carson Hocevar, where does he come from with that 5th on Friday? There's McDowell again. Tyler Reddick, 11th. Wow. Interesting. That's surprising, huh? There's Denny, the hot Denny Hamlin. Blaney, that's his usual spot. Very disappointing run for Elliott yesterday. Disappointing for Briscoe. Chastain continues to be slow. The whole Christopher Bell thing is just not good. He should not race tomorrow. Forget it. It's just, he shouldn't race. I thought he was going to be okay earlier in the week. You hear about these things with these drivers and they always gut it out, but no. You feel like if they say they're going to give it a try and all that, you feel like, all right, well, they will and they'll be okay. But no, it's not okay. All right. And then here came today's numbers. Yep. Big surprise. SVG at the top. But look at this. Carson Hocevar, who has done nothing, nothing as far as a road course driver in his career, sitting there in second. Blaney ends up with a really good run. Actually led until the final 2 turns. He might have been on the pole. Zane Smith ends up with a really big Saturday after a slow Friday. Todd Gilliland. Where does this come from? Suarez with a big day after a slow yesterday. Connor Zilic, another top 10 for McDowell, another good run for Austin Hill. Gibbs, a disappointing 11th, but still, it's okay. He's in the running. Very disappointing 14th for Larson, considering how fast he was yesterday. AJ was a little bit disappointing these 2 days. Look at Tyler Reddick, 17th. Another disappointing run for Briscoe, Chastain, Byron, Elliott, Chase Elliott, 30th. And again, Christopher Bell, just forget it. Okay. So what did we learn? Besides the fact that Shane Van Gisbergen is going to win and probably win by about 10 seconds. The odds are absolutely insane. If you thought the odds were insane when we talked on Tuesday, that was a gift on Tuesday. An absolute gift. It was minus 150 on Tuesday. And there is no way. Look, I don't ever want to, unless you've got big money and you're one of those high stakes gamblers, handicappers, whatever, and you just want to put down big money like you would in horse racing, no matter how big the vig is. Hey, you know he's going to win, putting it down. Well, 150 would have been a gift. I'm going to show you what his odds are in just a minute. But what we did learn today, besides the fact that SVG is once again going to more than likely dominate tomorrow, is that Chevy, along with SVG, owned the day, the 2 days. So Chevy yesterday had 7 of the top 10. Today, they had 6 of the top 10 and the front row. All right, Ford had a good day today. Yesterday, only one of the top 10, one of the top 11, even though the second fastest was, I think it was Gilliland on Friday. Today, though, Ford was much better, 4 of the top 7. Toyota, very surprisingly slow. We haven't said that for a month. They've been dominating, but now we're on a street race. All right. So Toyota was 2 of the top 10 yesterday. Their high was 3rd. Today, no drivers in the top 10. None for Toyota. Let's go ahead and take a look at the crazy odds, because this is something we've never seen before. And I don't know if it could ever get this bad ever. But yes, you're not looking at 4-1. You're not looking at, well, let me just stop with he's minus 450. Can you believe that? So bottom line is you have to put down $450 of your hard-earned cash to make 100. That's why I said it was a gift on Tuesday, but also if you are a high-stakes gambler, you might look at that and go, hey, you know what? Like, for instance, let's see. Let's say you're a high-stakes gambler, and let's do a 450 times, let's say 20. 9 grand. Wow. Okay. So that's 20. Wow. Just making sure I've got the right thing here. It's 9 grand. I think that says it's 9 grand to make 2 grand. Anyway, you get my point. It's crazy. It's like I probably would feel more confident in a horse race. And you're dealing with an animal. And the reason I say that is just because of the fact that anything can happen to the equipment. Anything can happen to the other drivers out on the course, especially since this is a first-time course for everybody. So there are a lot of different things that can happen out there. that could impede SVG's chance to win. Is it likely? No. We all know he's going to win. But it isn't F1 at Monaco. Okay, it's not that. Nothing is like F1 at Monaco. If you're like the dominant driver in F1 and everybody knows you're the guy at Monaco and you're on the pole, well, you're going to win. That, I would say, go ahead and mortgage it, baby. But this is NASCAR, and there's more of an opportunity for crazy stuff to happen. Not likely, but hey, it's up to you. It's big money, man. $450 to make 100. Big money. Okay. I can sit here and give you a whole bunch of reasons why SVG is not going to win, but that would be silly. So there's only two other things to do here now. One, like the movie War Games. I certainly hope you've watched it. What was the big saying in that movie was the only winning move is not to play. And that's we kind of said that on Tuesday as well, but now I really mean it. Now, and that's not a DFS contest. We're going to get to that in a little bit. I think tell you the truth, that's probably the one thing that you can do tomorrow to try to have fun with, because that is still completely wide open. Everybody's going to put SVG on his team, and it's up to you to decide, okay, who's my other 5 drivers? So that's the good thing there. That's still wide open. If anything happens to SVG, or you want to bet top 10, top 5, driver versus driver, so let's go at it. Let's take a look here at these drivers on the top 10. And again, look, I don't know what to expect from Hocevar. I really don't. But the fact is that he was fast yesterday and today. It wasn't one day, 2 different sessions. So that has to count for something, and he's in a Chevy. Then you have, sticking with the Chevys, then you have Suarez. Now, we talked about liking Suarez as one of those long shots to keep an eye on the other day. Don't forget, you can check out our show every Tuesday with CJ Raduna of RotoWire.com. You can also check out the link in the description of this video right now. That's where CJ has his DFS report at RotoWire.com. So go ahead and click that. Check out what he has to say. And this is on Friday. Every Friday he puts it out. And we do the show every Tuesday. So check that out. Links in the description. Where is my... Oh, here it is. Okay. So yes. So again, we just think that Suarez is in a nice groove at this point. And looking at Suarez, he did not have like a really good result so far this year on either course. We've been at Coda and Watkins Glen. All right. But overall, Suarez, as far as a road course driver, has 5 top 5s in his career, and he's got the win at Sonoma. All right. And he's just in a really nice groove right now. So I think Suarez is somebody you want to keep an eye on. Also, the other Chevys, you got Zilich. Now, Zilich is in a much better position because as you see the odds there, it's now 10-1. Now the odds are a little bit better where I'm like, okay, if you think Connor can do this, if you think anybody can beat SVG, 10-1 is a lot better than the ridiculous 4 or 5-1 nonsense we were getting earlier this year. At least we even got 6-1 earlier this week, but now it's 10. And he was fast yesterday and today. So I'm actually surprised in a way, but the odds have to come up because with SVG's odds going down, everybody's odds go up. So that's the advantage you get. So I think Zilich becomes an interesting choice. McDowell, meanwhile, he's still getting a nice number, and he had a really good couple of days. There's no reason to think that he can't go out there and give it all he's got like he did at Watkins Glen. And it was really one of the better performances we've seen against SVG the last couple of years. 5th and 2nd this year, McDowell on the road courses. And overall, McDowell has now it's how many? I think we have, well, it's been, see, the problem with McDowell is he's been in so many races, but like out of the 47 road races he's had in his career, like 30 of them were before next gen, when he actually became capable of being like everything evened up a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, 7 career top 5s, and he's got the win at Indianapolis. Okay. And then now here's the one that's really interesting, to tell you the truth, is Austin Hill. He's sitting there at 6. Oh, by the way, that's 66 to 1, not 6 to 1. Okay. So he's at 66 to 1. All right. And I think Austin Hill is a really good play for both. Again, just for fun's sake, you're going to throw a few bucks on some long shots tomorrow. Austin Hill should be one of them. But definitely you want to keep an eye on him for DFS. 3 races in the O'Reilly Series in Chicago. 3. Finished 4th, 5th, and 7th. So he's been solid on the street courses. All right. Now, I know it's O'Reilly, but it does mean something. And now, not as much on Tuesday, but it means something today, based on how good he looked today. Top 10 finishes in both sessions, yesterday and today. And then Gibbs, let's go ahead. Well, actually, before we come out of the top 10, Blaney, Smith, Gilliland, Priest of the Fords. Not really interested in Priest. Zane Smith continues to, you know how we feel about Zane. He's a Huntington Beach native, so he is going to give it his all. He does not have a great history on road courses or street races, but I'm still interested in drivers that are going to do anything in their power to win. He is going to try something to win strategy-wise, and that's the thing too. There's a couple other things that you have to keep in mind. Normally in road course racing, we already know that you have to sometimes come up with different strategies. You know, some drivers are going to want to maybe take it. Let's just say if there were normal average 4 stops, let's see if I could do it in 3. And then you've got and then of course, now has that happened a whole lot and been effective lately? I think the only one that was really effective doing that lately has been Christopher Bell, but he's out pretty much. And then you take a look at the tire wear. Now, this is another reason why the 450 to 1 minus 450, you've got to remember that everybody's talking about the tires could really be worn down here. And if that's the case, anything can happen associated with tire wear at a new venue. Okay. You don't know how things are going to go depending on how long they're going to be out there on the tire. You don't know if there's going to be a situation where, let's say SVG is going to, because what we've seen SVG too in several situations is he doesn't mind going, and I'm just sticking with what my plan is. And I don't care if I've got a pit and I've got to put myself in a position where I'm 20th or 25th and I'm 20 laps back. I mean, there's 20 laps to go or 15 laps to go, and I'm in that 15, 25 spot. Normally you'd go, oh, wow, that's risking it. I don't know. It's too long. You shouldn't do that. But SVG is so dominant that he's shown this. I think he showed it at the Roval. He did it last time out at Watkins Glen. But sooner or later, that could work against you. And so again, especially with the wear and tear of the tires as well, that's another aspect that could come into it. I'm reaching here, okay, to try to make this interesting. But anyway, as far as the Fords, you've got Blaney and Gilliland. I don't really know if Gilliland can win a race, but he was really good. And he doesn't have like a great history on road courses. He does have, interesting enough, in the 3 Chicago races, he was in a top 10 once. So that's just, and he didn't start inside the top 20 in any of those races, including the race where he finished in the top 10. So here he's got 2 of the best runs he's ever had. Maybe that means something. And what is he? 50-1. And then you got Blaney, and Blaney's always going to be dangerous. Okay. Again, he came this close to being on the pole, this close to beating out SVG. But Blaney can do that for a few laps. But to expect him to go mano-a-mano with SVG the entire race, he's going to need help, obviously. All right. And then here are the contenders. And Ty Gibbs is still got to be the top one in my book at 18-1. I think he is really great value, terrific value. Okay, because if SVG is going to slip or someone's going to beat him, Gibbs is at the top. He's got to be at the top. I know Reddick has got to be there too, but Gibbs looked a lot better than Tyler Reddick did in the 2 days. We give him Reddick a lot of respect, and we should. I mean, he was my top pick on Tuesday. And the only thing is Reddick is 12-1. His odds were 10-1 to start the weekend. And they were, 9-1 on Tuesday. It's like, wait a second. He didn't really do anything. He was 17th in qualifying, 11th in practice. So that's not very good. And you're giving me 2 points? So I'm not getting no value now out of Reddick. But I'm jumping all over Gibbs because he got barely a top 10, 11th, and 3rd in practice. And remember, Gibbs 3rd and 4th on the road courses this year. And Gibbs has really been strong in the last couple of years, not just on the road courses, but on the street race as well. 5 top 5s in 18 races overall in the Cup Series on the road courses. And a very good record, including 2 wins in the O'Reilly Series. Okay. As far as Larson, again, very disappointing day today with that qualifying run, but you are talking about a driver with a bunch of road course wins, and he was first in practice, so that has to mean something, and you're getting 25-1. So I think Kyle Larson, and you're driving a Chevy. So I think Kyle Larson, I actually put Larson 3rd, or I should say 2nd behind Gibbs as the top contenders for SVG. AJ, very disappointing. I don't know what to say about AJ. The only good thing is the fact you're getting a huge number. I mean, that's crazy. 66-1 for AJ. He's definitely worth $1 or $2. Forget about Logano. Forget about Bowman. Very disappointed in Briscoe. Now, I don't even know what happened there. The only thing I could say is that Briscoe just happened to be associated with a slow manufacturer this weekend. Same thing happened to Reddick. That's another reason why I was impressed with Gibbs. And the reason why I'll put Larson right behind Gibbs with the Chevy. I'm not going to put Larson ahead of Gibbs just because he's driving a Chevy, but that should show you how much respect you should have for Gibbs based on how the rest of the Toyotas have done. And then, other than that, I mean, Elliott's the other big disappointment, but you're now getting 66-1. And how many times have we seen Chase Elliott not have good Saturdays and come out and contend for wins? So I out of all these contenders with the big numbers here, I would definitely say you got to throw a couple of bucks on AJ, Briscoe, and Elliott. Those would be the 3. The order, I'd probably go AJ 1, Elliott 2, Briscoe 3, in that order. And then again, top contenders, Gibson, out as far as outside the top 10. Well, actually, I don't even know inside the top 10. Because we gotta put McDowell in there. Let me just say outside the top 10. We'll go with Gibbs, Larson, and Reddick. Okay. Let's take a look at our fantasy team. Okay. So, of course, we're going to put SVG in there. Now, you can be a madman, or you can have a couple of different, you can do, I'm going to do a second team. And just in case something happens where SVG doesn't win. See, here's the problem. If you don't play SVG in a contest like this, then something has to happen to him early in the race. Because he's on the pole, he's going to lead a bunch of laps. So even if something happens later in the race where something catches up to him, some freaky way that somebody steals the race from him, he's still going to lead a bunch of laps and he's going to put points on there, and you got to have him. So you're just really, really gambling if you don't have him on there. But I see no reason not to. And this is why, because I think you have viable drivers to go with. Gibbs, I'm sticking with Gibbs. Now, where's Larson? See, Larson is a little bit too expensive at 8,900. All right. But I can still go with Chevy here. Suarez, Hocevar, and Hill. Okay, now, I just think Hocevar, because he's cheap, I just feel he's a must play. I'm still a little bit concerned with him on a road course for the entire day. I really am. But he's cheap. And just like Gilliland, same thing. He's too cheap not to put him up there based on how good his first 2 days were. So Gilliland and Hocevar, I just think based on now Hocevar, you're definitely getting, 1,000 more on his cap. And then Hill, love Hill at 6,000. All right. So if you look at the cheap ones here, bring this up. Okay, so if you look at the cheap ones, you definitely start with these two here, Hill and Gilliland, right around 6,000. Herbst, he ran 13th in practice, but he's a Toyota, not interested. Nemechek, Jones, red hot coming into this race. Toyotas, terrible, bad days. Not interested. But there's Zane Smith. Now, again, I don't have Zane Smith in here, but he's another good option. And I don't know if I'll change my mind. I always think of either another ticket, or sometimes I'll change my mind after the last minute and make some switches. If I was going to do that, Zane Smith is definitely someone I would consider at 6,300. And if I did do that, I would probably have to consider Suarez or Hocevar, the most likely, because Suarez is actually $600 more than Hocevar, which is a little bit surprising. So I'd have to so I could probably take Suarez out, put Zane in, I gain $1,300, and then I might be able to take another driver out, and maybe take both of them out. Maybe take Suarez and Hocevar out, put Zane in, and now I've got more extra money to go for another driver up there. Heim I would have considered because he's pretty cheap, but I really was hoping to get less than 6,800, plus he's driving a Toyota. So I just don't really see the advantage in that situation. Where is he again here? There he is, 6th in final practice. Cindric could be interesting because he's starting so far back, and we know he's good on the road and the street and all that. But I don't know. It just did not look good today. Bowman could always be sneaky, and he's driving a Chevy. All right, and he's in 20th. He was also 10th fastest in practice. So he is a possibility as well if you're looking for someone in that range. It's just that, why would I go with Bowman at 73 when I can go with Hocevar and Suarez in the same range? Just the way I look at that. And now we're going up a little bit more expensive. I think Blaney, I just get the feeling Blaney is going to have a good day. He's had a nice run recently. He's been an 11th or better in 6 straight races. And both of his races this year on Coda and Watkins Glen were 11th or better. 11th at Watkins Glen, 8th at Coda. So I would expect Blaney to have a top 5 day. So he's not a bad so again, if I was looking to gain a bigger driver, maybe I can go with Zane Smith and Ryan Blaney and drop Hocevar and Suarez. That's something that I could do. Or I can go with AJ Allmendinger instead of Ryan Blaney. And I'm going to gather more spots too, because AJ's 15th. So maybe I go with AJ and Zane Smith and take out Suarez and Hocevar. I mean, the good thing about Larson is he's 14th. So if he ends up in the top 5 first practice, that's a good sign. It's just at 8,900. I'd have to do some. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. Because I don't see the possibility of me being able to put Larson, Gibbs, and SVG in the same group. And then, Bell with his injury, I know he's starting 37th, and it's so tempting. But, I mean, really, if you're Christopher Bell, based on the way you looked, unless something happens dramatically with your health, like you wake up and like, wow, I feel so much better. But if that doesn't happen, then you should just don't drive. Don't do anything stupid. There's no reason to. I mean, look, you're 37th. Maybe your driver can get you up to 20th or something, and you'll gain some spots, and you'll make a little headway in the standings. But whatever. Everybody has a DNF once in a while. Just look at it like that. It's not the end of the world. You'll be fine. All right, and there you go. So that is going to wrap it up. Thanks a lot once again for checking in with us. And if you have any questions or comments, also want to see what your picks are. Let me know what you have in store for your DFS report. If you have any really good questions or options that you want to play with, let us know what you're doing there. Sonoma is next week, so we go right back to the road course. So this is the week actually to be kind of excited, but now we're dealing with a minus 450 driver. So unfortunately, that's not good. And remember too, what we talked about on Tuesday, if you were with us, that you might want to take a look at a driver that you think can compete at Sonoma, and has a good Sonoma record, especially if it's a long shot, like a big numbered long shot. Because what you should then do is you even though SVG is minus 450, you just go with that driver this week and next week, and you hope that SVG encounters some sort of issue this week or next week. And if he does in one of the 2 races, then it opens the door for your driver to hopefully take advantage either this week or next week. So try to do that. Try to, I would look at the Sonoma drivers and go with some of those good Sonoma drivers that you would consider and put them in there this week. And then say, you know what, I think I'm going to go with them next week. Let's go with them this week, because just in case something happens to SVG, I've got him this week. But if SVG dominates, then I've got next week, and hope he won't be able to dominate back to back, even though we know that is probably what will happen. That's going to do it. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate your time. I will see everybody again on the Ourlads Football Network. We're back on Monday. We're going to have a very busy week next week. Lots of interviews, lots of college football interviews next week. Looking forward to that. A couple of NFL interviews. I know it's not training camp yet. Mini camps are pretty much over all across the land, but we are on top of those interviews in the NFL and college football, and we're doing that, and we are definitely getting smarter. While everybody's resting their football brains, we're cooking right up here with football. So check that out on the Ourlads Football Network. No Jim Feist handicapping show on Tuesdays for the next 3 weeks. Jim's taking some time off for health reasons. He's got some tests he's got to run over in California from Vegas. So he's going to be away from town, and so he's taking some time off. So I will hopefully still see Jim, though, on the Friday show when we talk NFL. And so, he says he's iffy for that, but he's confident that he'll be able to make it. And we're going to be talking about the NFC East, I believe, or the North. Who are we talking about this week? I think it's the North, or it's the East. I forget. Anyway, NFC talk. We're going to be doing that on Friday, and hopefully Jim will be there with us. And I'll see everybody next week on Tuesday with CJ Radoon as we wrap up this race here at San Diego, and then take a look at Sonoma. So once again, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you again real soon.